The whole circus that we are currently witnessing coming out of the United States is what I would consider to be part of a phenomenon that I would call the death of authority in the Western world. The whole neoliberal screed of me, I, question authority, and so forth has developed particularly since the 1960s. And what we are seeing at this point is a case of no institution and no source occupying a position of absolute authority. Was there ballot tampering? Maybe, maybe not. We simply don't have enough information at this point. But whatever happens, whatever way the states decide on this, whatever way even the Supreme Court decides on this, one side will claim that the other is lying. One side will claim that the arbitration institution or organization is lying and is corrupt. This is a hallmark of the death of any kind of authority. That is to say, the death of any acceptance of external authority to the mind of the self. This is the natural development of any neoliberal society, a society which values the individual above all. And this process is seen most explicitly at this point within the United States, and that's unsurprising because the US is arguably the purest example of a neoliberal state. It's at the heart of the neoliberal project. So what comes next? Well, without any kind of order, without any kind of authority, then there can only be chaos. And people have called this for many years. The whole society at this point seems to be occupying entirely different worlds. The United States is almost evenly split 50-50 on this, and not just on politics, but on its entire social and world view. And to add kindling to the already tense atmosphere, there are a number of states still counting and choosing to continue counting the votes for a number of days, which is then feeding the idea that there is some kind of cover-up, whether or not there is a cover-up or otherwise. And then further to that, we see Twitter censoring the majority of Donald Trump's tweets on the basis that they consider them to be not factual. Well, this again is just feeding more of this conspiracy that the consumer establishment, the corporate establishment based in Silicon Valley, is united with the rest of the political establishment to oust Trump. Whether or not that is true, it is a ludicrous act to censor the head of state of any nation, because it appears to place that individual, who in a traditional context is the highest of all the patricians, and deals with that patrician as though he were a mere plebeian. This is also about the end of any structure of hierarchy, and hierarchy, of course, is fundamental to authority. But if even the head of state is treated as though he was just Joe Bloggs, then truly that is the total usurpation of any ideal of hierarchy and authority itself. And without authority, without third-party jurisdiction, without a third element that all will agree to obey once the decision is made, then only chaos and disorder will reign. This was inevitable. The West and its neoliberal ideology was so fearful of authority, it was so concerned about the centralization of power in any way, shape or form, it has now been left with no power, with no authority, and what appears to be an almost inevitable progression towards mass civil disorder and even civil war.